One of my favorite programs to use for video production is DaVinci Resolve. I use it to make videos for my job at the middle school. It's especially useful when I'm out sick or just want to share some information in a fun way. Although the studio edition costs $300, the free edition is also a fantastic tool for video editing, and unless you're a professional, you probably won't even miss the extra features in studio. I'm going to share with you the three most useful and important functions of DaVinci Resolve. Number one, its highly organized editing timeline. DaVinci's timeline works a little differently from other programs I've used in the past, like Vegas Pro and Windows Movie Maker. You drag around a vertical line that indicates the frame of the video clip that you're currently editing. It's easy to move it around and line it up with adjacent clips. Originally, I was disappointed that I could not just click where I wanted to edit, but this approach leads to fewer accidents and a more intentional design with your trimming. Number two, its array of coloring options. I'll be the first to admit I'm not a professional colorist, but DaVinci gives you access to a lot of different options for adjusting the color in your video. Before, when I used Vegas Pro, I had no idea options like this were even out there. You can adjust the color of dark, medium, and light elements separately, and even go a step further if you're working with high dynamic range, which lets you discriminate between black and shadow and light and highlight. This goes alongside the typical saturation, contrast, and brightness adjustment sliders. There are even more features, but you likely won't use them unless you're making a legitimate film or something. Number three, rendering speed. For those who don't know, rendering means to complete your video project and save it into a video file. What once took me 5 hours to render in Vegas Pro, yes, 5, took me less than 1 in DaVinci Resolve. I don't know how they do it. They're just masters of time compression or something. You just choose the format, name the video file, and start the render. Unless you're working with big video files in B-RAW format, like I do sometimes, that's the native video file format for DaVinci Resolve, you'll have that video playing on your computer screen in less than 2 minutes. Why use DaVinci Resolve? Video projects are a great way to encourage creativity in middle and high school students. When I worked at a boarding school, I made funny videos with the class to lighten the mood and curry interest in the material. They really appreciated those activities, I think. I also made short videos by myself to help them study for quizzes. Now that I'm at a middle school, I don't do those kinds of projects as often. However, this year for Black History Month, we made short informational videos about people from history. I could tell that this was the first time these kids had done something like this, and I was pleased to give them this opportunity. DaVinci Resolve isn't the only video production software, but in my opinion, it's the best one, at least that I've tried. It also gives you the best value, as the free version of DaVinci has about as many features as the paid versions of other software, so you don't have to pay any money or do something illegal to get the programs, if you know what I'm saying.
So just as a simple demonstration, I'm going to be editing a short scene from a video I made when I worked at the boarding school. It was called Time to Vote. It was about this senior in college, and he doesn't even care about voting. He's just some slacker, right? But it's an election year, and he has to learn a lesson. So here we've got Kendall. He's just walking. He's being silly. You'll notice his hands are in that position. When we start this scene, we want his hands to also be in that position. So we're going to line it up so it's there, right there. We're going to move them together. And this was a really fun little video project. We did it for Black History Month. It was sort of to encourage voting and civic participation and all of that. Oh, Mr. Patrick said, don't forget to vote. He did not just say that. Kendall gives him the Kendall eye. I just made that up. All right, we're going to trim off the end right there. And the next shot, Kendall's going to give him a piece of his mind. And oh, you see Mr. Patrick, that's the teacher there. He looked at the camera, so we're going to fix that in a moment. Okay, so we want it to start right when Kendall is coming on screen, right before rather, and yeah, like that, because we want the pacing to be nice and good. And let's cut out the part where Mr. Patrick looks at the camera, just barely cut it out, just tiny little microseconds. Individual frames can have such a big difference on the pacing, and also the small mistakes like that can just be disposed of. Right? Of course, I will be looking at the coloring after this as well, showing off some of those options. Alright, so then we go to the next shot, and yeah, that beginning part goes on for a long time, so we're going to trim off the beginning of the beginning part, and Kendall's just sliding from one shot to another. Mr. Patrick's there, that's a funny little gag, he teleports. Alright, and then... Alright, I have to cut out the part where I say action, of course, that's the part you cut out. This is before I ever started using real microphones, real lights, or anything like that. This was just a fun little thing I did with the students. Alright, so Kendall's going to give him his little spiel about how voting is pointless. Alright, this pretty alright. You're right to cast a ballot. Alright, old man. Just kidding, he's lovely. So the next shot is another side shot, and man, back then I was very precise. When I'd hit record, that was when they started. Okay. Okay, well here. So there's too much time here. We were gonna improve the pacing by eliminating this dead space that doesn't really add anything. Just a ballot. And Kendall is immediately reacting. You get conversational pacing like you would see in a real conversation. Alright, and that is the scene. So now we're going to take it over to the coloring section, and we're going to go to Mr. Patrick's big beautiful face, and let's just see a few things we can do. We can cool down the temperature, very easily do that, you know, make the light a little bluer and less orange. We can adjust the contrast, make it so, ooh, look at that. A little more contrast. Don't want it too much contrast because you don't want him to look like he's something wrong with him. But yeah, a little contrast looks nice. And then we got some other things. Mid-tone detail's a fun one. Look at that. I can make him look like a zombie. I can make him look like an angel. I usually like to put it somewhere in between. Maybe at like 25 for mid-tone detail. Color boost. Color boost is kind of just saturation again. I don't really know the differences between those two things, but there's color boost. Shadow, the shadow brightness, the highlight brightness, and then here's saturation, of course. You know, saturation is always very important to look at. So you want your picture to be nice and colorful, or do you want it to be not that colorful? It's up to you. It's up to you. All right, and that's kind of all you have there. Oh, you also have the high dynamic range. This is not video footage that really has high dynamic range, but it might still work. Let's see. The darks. Well, on this, dark and black are kind of the same. They're kind of lumped together. Shadow, yeah. So there's not as much complication because I just filmed this with my iPhone. It's not that complex, but you still have a lot of options. DaVinci Resolve can still work with any video format that you want to use, and in the end, you can get something really nice. And so we went to this from this. Pretty big difference, I'd say. And then here's the delivery part. You just put the name. I'm going to type Kindle Scene. Kindle Scene. All right, you choose the resolution. For me, it's going to be HD resolution. And format MP4. Add to render queue. You're going to choose where to put it. Obviously, this is all just stuff everyone who's ever used a computer is pretty familiar with. And render.
Hey there, Kendall. Don't forget to vote.
And that's funny, Mr. P. Can't wait for class today. You always tell the best jokes.
I don't remember telling any jokes. You're 18. You should exercise your right to vote.
Mr. Patrick, you might as well go tell me to blow on the dandelion. When has voting ever accomplished anything?
That's not the point. It's your civic duty to vote. Do you know how many people fought and died for your right to cast a ballot?
Looks like they died for nothing, because you won't catch me anywhere near a polling place today. I'm gonna go bowling with the boys. See ya.
That boy just ain't right.
If you like to make your own classroom materials or have an interest in video projects, I highly recommend DaVinci Resolve as your video editing program of choice.